Hello and welcome to today's tool-specific training and safety video. Today we're going to talk specifically about the Doweling jointer. This video is shot and intended for the students enrolled in the woodworking and digital fabrication program at Santana High School in the Grossmont Union High School District. However, if you're part of the general public and you have stumbled across this, well, there will be some information that is specific to those students. Hopefully this video will provide you some tips and how to use this tool safely and effectively. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in, talk about some of the features of this tool and how to safely use it. All right, before we get started with this tool, let's talk about a few settings. First one here, this is how you can change the degree. You'll probably always be using this at 90 degrees. It'll probably be set up for you as well, but in the case it isn't, there it is. You can also adjust the depth of your cut. Right here on the left-hand side, you have a stop, and that positive stop can be adjusted. Keep in mind, it's in millimeters. This is a European company, so those numbers on the side indicate millimeters. And lastly, moving over to the right-hand side of the tool, that is how you can adjust the depth of your cut. I would say unless you're working with a really large piece of material, you really don't need to be adjusting this. We're going to keep it at its most shallow setting. And in any regard, if you are working with something that needs a unique setup, I would stop and check with the instructor, check with me first, before you make any adjustments to this tool. And the last and probably most important notable feature here is that this tool has 2 drill bits. However, we usually work with such small material. I've removed one. That's why you must triple check and make sure you're aligning your work correctly. So the first step in making your connection is taking your cut pieces and forming a butt joint. That's ultimately all we're doing. Now you can see I'm using a square here to mark a line. It's not totally necessary, but it does help to make a nice straight line between your 2 opposing faces, just like so. Note your alignment. This is how your final glue up is going to look, so make sure it's right. Now absolutely always make sure that your work is clamped down when using this tool. We have this simple jig made up so that we can easily clamp it down. Consists of 2 micro jig clamps. So go ahead and slide it in. My suggestion is that it's set up near a corner of a workbench. And let's go ahead and start with our end grain piece. You see that I'm securing it to the jig with a spring clamp. And before I do any drilling, I kind of raise the tool up and test it out to make sure that I'm A, on the right side, and B, not going to plunge too deep. Now go ahead and take your time, line up the tool line with the line you drew, pull the trigger, and slowly make your plunge cut. A word of advice, take your time. You don't need to rush through that. Make sure everything is stable. Once you've got your cut, you can see that it's not going to be perfectly centered, but don't worry, that doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and move on to the other side now. Go ahead and do that test plunge. Make sure you're in the right place and not going to plunge too deep. Make sure everything is stable and aligned. And then go ahead and make your plunge cut. Stability is key. Make sure that you're on a stable work surface. Everything is secured and clamped. And there you have it. There's the other side. Also, don't forget about the most important tool in the shop. Grab a broom, sweep up after yourself. Assembly is quite simple at this point. Just grab some wood glue and a dowel. Absolutely use glue, but go ahead and grab a dowel, add glue, glue the dowel into both sides, and some glue along the surface of that butt joint as well. A little bit of clamping pressure, and voila, you're all set. All right, before we go, we got this guy to go over. Should you want to drill into the face of a board, this guy is super convenient. Just go ahead and add this pin into the recess that you already drilled. Line up your piece wherever you want it to go onto the face of a board. Push down firmly,
And voila, you got a pin, you got a mark right there. Just head over to the drill press, use a traditional drill, make sure you drill down straight. And now you can dowel joint on the face of a board as well. Piece of cake. And in all things in life, if you know what you're doing, go do it well. And if not, it never hurts to stop and ask some questions. Take care.